Well, hello again, ladies and gentlemen. It's your friend Noe. I know it's been quite a while since you've seen from me, but had a lot going on in family, and things had to get taken care of, and there were certain health issues, not mine, but the wife, that we had to deal with. And but here I am. I'm still kicking. I'm still here. But in this video, I got a couple subjects I want to hit on. The first one is, we all know what this month is, and we're getting bombarded from every turn. And here where I live, we do have this local newspaper, or I guess you call it that. But of course, it's going to be during this month of June. It's going to be the propaganda. And the first 2 weeks, the first week was this guy that writes articles now and then, and he was talking about hate. And you can, when you read his article, you understand clearly what his undertones were, and who he was shaming, and for not bowing down to the status quo of today. Okay. And then the following week, it was just, it disgusted me. There's this one person, he is of that certain community, and he was elected into a local town council here quite a few years ago, but he only lasted one term because that's all he pushed. He pushed that onto the people, and he bragged about it, and on and on. So he was sent packing after his first term. But he happened to get into the county commissioners here. Well, now he's up to his same old thing, and he's all proud of himself because now this county that I live in, there, June is you know what. So with this here, it just made me, I was curious to see if the owner and editor and proprietor of this local newspaper, if I wrote something, would she publish it word for word? And I was surprised that she did. Word for word, didn't change nothing. And for you all, I'd like you to hear what it is that she had published and printed in last week's paper. And it was my basic response to what's going on in America. So let me read that for you right here now. It was titled, "What Jesus Cannot Forgive." The past few years have been very trying times for all Americans. Our way of life, liberty, and freedoms are being stripped at every turn, leaving many to ask, why has God forsaken us? Well, that in itself is a loaded question. Has God forsaken us, or have we forsaken God? To answer this, we must first look at our way of life, and whom we blame for this downfall. First, let us look at our children's loss of innocence. When as a nation we force what God sees as a sinful life unto our children and shame all that will not agree, God is angered. When this sinful life is also forced onto every citizen, while those that disagree are insulted and called haters, this too angers God. If we look at the whole Bible and not see it as a bag of trail mix throwing out what we do not like, we will see the disdain even Jesus used for those of evil and not of love. The love Jesus spoke of was love for the Father and for his natural order of things in this world he created. When Jesus confronted the leaders of his day, he showed the disdain for what they were doing. His words and actions prove this. The same justified disdain is seen today by many as they call out with flags, words, and actions against a government that has lost its way and is clearly destroying our nation for their own personal gain. When Jesus confronted the corrupt money changers in the temple, he again showed his disdain for this in his actions. We all know, or we should all know, the shaming and hatred for Jesus because of the actions he took. The ending of his life was clearly because Jesus stood for what was right before God and not what man wanted. Today we are seeing this same hatred for those that want God's truth and not man's. We are shamed, belittled, and called haters for not wanting our children and grandchildren indoctrinated into a sinful, ungodly world. Satan comes as an angel of light, but in fact is a demon of darkness and destruction. The one thing Jesus cannot forgive are those that use God to shame those that will not or ever bow to the works of evil. To love the neighbor is to tell them the truth, no matter how this may hurt them. But to lie to them is a sin not even Jesus can forgive. Let us answer the question of calling out our government of lies, corruption, and control. Okay, what would Jesus do? We again can look at our Bible for this answer. Jesus called the leaders of his day the worst names that could be used in that time, and done so very publicly. Today we use flags, memes, and yes, even words in a very public way to show our disdain for those that are stealing our children's future. To claim only those who do not agree with a forced sinful life as the very cause of America losing God's grace is in fact the blind leading the blind, and as the Bible states, both shall end up in the ditch. True love of your fellow man is to allow all men to live the life they see fit, as it is Jesus in the end that will judge them for the person they were, but most importantly judged for God's law they followed, and not the sinful ways of man. Just know this: those that shame, belittle, and blame others for God-forsaken America need to search the truth for themselves. I wish no person hears the words nobody wants to hear. Depart from me, you doers of iniquity, for I never knew you. But sadly, the Bible teaches this will not be. So in closing, I will say, God has not forsaken America. America has forsaken God. For those that shame citizens for not bowing to their demands of a sinful life proves not a hatred for us, but a hatred for God and all he sees as holy. And this was printed and put into their newspaper. And now I guess in the next coming weeks I will see who's been triggered and who just lets it lie. But I wanted to get that out to the people in this area, and I wanted hopefully people to think, because this brings me to our next subject of what I want to talk about in this video. For the past few years, a lot of people have been shamed, attacked, their lifestyles destroyed, their livelihoods taken from them because they dared to speak up. 2 years ago, I showed you what I had found here right in my backyard. So with these pictures here, you can see on this first picture what was falling from the sky and landing on the doghouse, and it was collecting. And so I have, these pictures here, and you can see that this substance is forming, and it's on everything. It's on your plants, it's on the trees, it's on your house, it's on, but it collects more on plastics, because the sun in the summer will warm up this plastic, and it makes it more adherent to stuff falling from the sky. So, and I had showed how this was collecting. Now, 2 years ago, in 2022, here where I am in Maine, you couldn't buy a rain shower 2 years ago. It was endless sun and heat and sun and heat and sun and heat, and it just went on and on and on and on and on. But this stuff just kept forming all over everything all summer long, and all you had to do was look up and you could see what was going on. Even though our government and the media, they were shaming people and they were attacking people, and we don't know what we're talking about, and we're this and we're that, and blah 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 blah. We know how the propaganda works. So last year in March, I got looking through, and I said, I am going to prove to the people, and I had put out the video of how weather is made, and we saw right here on the Central Library, and when you look down here at the bottom, here's all the projects and the name of it and the dates that it used, and this blue lettering right here it brings you to a form, because this form, what it is, if you look right here in the bottom of this, what this is, in the 70s, a law was passed and put into effect that anything going on like this through NOAA and everything, there was a form, an application, so to say, that had to be filled out, and Congress, seeing here's hundreds of pages of it, and here's all of this stuff that's going on, and this is what you look up from your phone long enough and watch in the air, you will see exactly what I'm talking about going on. But the form, these applications right here, over on this side, like I had pointed out a year ago, it gives the date that this is going to happen, okay, what they're going to do. And in this lighter blue section down here, it tells you the chemicals that are going to be put forth out through across all the people and everything. It tells all about it. What's really surprising is the very bottom. It asks, have there been any environmental impact studies done? No. Any long-term environmental impact studies done? No. Approved. Right. And it says exactly. So think about the color of those splots on the doghouse, and you see silver iodine. What's it look like? It looks like a silvery color now, doesn't it? Well, there's also, when you look through all these applications, you will find aluminum oxide as well, and acetone and all kinds of stuff. Unbelievable what is used. And I had shown you this. This is to cooling of the earth, and it'll be going on for the next 200 years. And it's sulfur dioxide and calcium carbonate. Both of these well, like I pointed out in the video last year, sulfur dioxide mixed with water is sulfuric acid. What have we heard about for the past 20 years? Acid rain, acid rain, acid rain. What do you think? Right. And now calcium carbonate in large amounts causes many health problems. If you have too much calcium built up in your body, you're breathing it because of what's going on overhead, that they say, of course, it is not happening. Because remember, what I laugh at so hard is the government and the media tells you, do not believe what your eyes see. Do not believe what your ears hear. But yet they're right on media and they're showing you things and they're telling you things. They tell you not to believe what your eyes see and your ears hear, but yet they want you to believe what they're showing you and what they're telling you. Just saying. Now, last summer, and I've been watching this for years, and I keep telling everybody, I said, well, we go through a year of drought, a year of rain, a year of drought, a year of rain. 2 years ago, when I first put out that video, Nothing to See Here, we couldn't buy a rain shower. We were very dry all summer long, just endless, just sun and heat and sun and heat, and there was just very little rain in this area. Last year, I didn't see a lot of this stuff collecting, but it was still overhead. And last summer, we couldn't buy a sunny day. It was just clouds and rain and drizzle and clouds and rain and drizzle. This went on for 3.5, 4 months. It was almost like the summer that wasn't. You didn't even have summer. It just rain and drizzly and cloudy and rain and drizzly and cloudy, and this went on for weeks and weeks. And you'd get a couple sunny days and boom, in would come more clouds and rain and drizzle, and it went all summer. Now this year, I told everybody, this year is going to be just the opposite of it was last year. It's going to be like 2 years ago. And so far, we've been getting it. We've had 80-degree weathers in April and high 70s and 80s in May. And now here in June, we just went through a heat wave with the hottest temperatures that, recorded in Maine for this time of year. And when the fronts start coming along in the rain, it just seems to dry up before it gets to this point. We've had some rain, not a lot, some. Other places have gotten 4 or 5 inches of rain. We've got about maybe an inch, if that, with these heavy pounding thunderstorms and fronts coming through. They just don't seem to stay materialized as they come to this area. But I want to show you. This is what's on the doghouse. See it all? Look at how thick this stuff is. And I've been watching them for weeks on end. they don't stop. They're crisscrossing. Starts off in the morning, nice blue skies. By noontime, oh no, not anymore. Now it's just this milky white sky. And this stuff is forming all over the doghouse again. So, and you can see this is the side of it, kind of dark. And so, as I have said for 2 years in a row now, this is how bad those in charge and those in power hate God for what he created. And they hate you as well. They don't want you here. You're interrupting their utopia. And look at how it's so funny. Look at how they have turned the people against each other. The rich, the poor, the color of your skin, your race. They want everybody to hate each other and everybody to fight with each other, and they've created this fake entity called the right and left in government when they're just two different sides of the same coin. They all work together. When the cameras are on, they fight each other. I mean, look at all these congressional hearings that have been going on. And these congressional hearings have done what? Absolutely nothing. Who's been taken down? Who's been held accountable? Who's been arrested and prosecuted for their crimes against humanity, for their crimes against the American people, for their crimes against America as a whole? Nobody. Nobody. The only one that they're going after is the one that doesn't play ball with them. And that's your fascism and your Marxism and your communism that has plagued this world for centuries. That's how they do it. But at the same time, they're gonna blame you for doing what they're doing. That's misdirection. And sadly, when you just take a look at online and all these people today, all they're doing online is shaming people, cutting people down, attacking people, and want you to listen to them because they know the truth. And it's only an opinion. It's their opinion. They have no real scientific proof. And when you ask for scientific proof, what do they tell you? Oh, you can't believe science anyway. They lie to you. So you see what's happening? They've done this same thing with God. They've done the same exact thing with God. Same thing. Nonstop. Our churches and everything have watered down and destroyed the truth within the Bible to the point where people don't even know what the truth is anymore. And sadly, people have become complacent to the point where they won't even pick up their Bible and read it for themselves and understand it for themselves. No, they have to sit down and listen to somebody else. It's like I have always told you in these videos. When I talk about a certain subject within the Bible, sit down and read it for yourself. Do not take my word for it. This is why we have the Bible. This is why the Bible was inspired by God and written by men to bring forth this truth. Because we are coming into a time when we have false prophets everywhere. We have these people claiming that God is talking to me and God is this and God is that. And it's all for what? It's all for their own fame and fortune. They want to make money, and they will tell you just what you want to hear. The Holy Spirit puts it in your heart. God does not speak to you. God is not picking out people and speaking to them and telling them, bring this to the people, because 90% of what they're bringing to the people, God doesn't care about our corrupt government. If God was going to use a person to go into to take on the government, then that's between that person and God. He's not going to tell all these false prophets and all these lunatic people that you can't even have a discussion with them, because they're going to be nasty to you. They're going to attack you. They're going to try to shut you up, because how dare you step on my authority? God speaks to me every night in my dreams, and it goes on and on and on. And they are sadly going to hear certain words, and it's not going to end well for them, and it's too bad. They are condemning themselves. They truly are. And it's a shame. So pay attention to what's going on, and understand that when I tell you, make it right with God, that's between you and God. And you have to make it right with Him. For those that do not bow down to man and stand, you will be surprised how carefree your life can be, and how things that affect others just don't seem to affect you, because God is protecting you, because God will protect His saints, and He will protect those that are standing true for Him. You're going to be, and He's told you, you're going to be persecuted. You're going to have certain things come at you and stuff. But who always seems to come out on top? Those that stay true to God. Because when the end does finally make it here, you want to hear the words from Jesus, "Well done, my trusted and faithful servant." That's what you want to hear. Hopefully you get something from this besides just, he's on a rant again. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, God willing, this is No Way Out.